Welcome back, people of everywhere, to another session of R&R. And this time we are talking about Friday the 13th, Jason Lives. In Jason Lives, we once again continue the story of Tommy Jarvis, yet again played by another actor. He's apparently doing much better, seeing as how he can carry on actual conversations and isn't beating the hell out of anybody who slightly irritates him. He is still plagued by Jason though, so he must go to Jason's burial site and be sure that he is finished once and for all. And so once they get to the burial site, something goes wrong and Jason is brought back to life with a lightning bolt and wreaks havoc across the newly named Crystal Lake. But to him, it is still his killing ground. So one of the things that made me so angry in the last movie was the way it ended. I said that I couldn't get into it because it would spoil this movie, but now I can talk about the fact that it makes no sense because Tommy is fine. He didn't kill the chick in the last movie. There was no mention of the new hockey mask that he's wearing. They don't even bring up how he apparently posed to kill the lady in the last one. So the last movie ended on sequel bait, saying that we were going to get Tommy as this new killer, and then gave us a sequel where Jason's back. That's why it made me so upset. Even with that though, I love this movie. This movie brings what I feel the series was lacking up to this point. A feeling of self-acknowledgement. The creators of the franchise have outright said that their whole purpose in making Friday the 13th in the first place was to rip off Halloween. But up to this point, it was taking itself so seriously that it was hard to have fun with it. In this one though, any horror that they were trying to have just goes right out the window. In substitute, they brought in some humor. In Final Friday, we saw that humor can work in these movies. We saw that with Crispin Glover and Corey Feldman. So how do they make this one funny? Well, they give Jason super strength. That's how. There's a sequence in this movie where there are just some random people in the woods playing paintball and Jason just comes up and kills them. It's great. My favorite part of the whole thing is when there's a guy with a machete, because Jason has to have his machete, and Jason walks up, grabs the guy's arm, and just like slings him across the woods. And then you get a shot of Jason just looking, and he ripped the guy's arm off, and he's just like, oh my god, is anyone else seeing this? The very first kill of the movie is Jason punching through a guy's chest and ripping his heart out, all Mortal Kombat style. This is also the first movie where we see actual kids at the summer camp. And we get a good mixture of decent performances and comedic performances. So, what were you gonna be when you grow up? Now, I don't know how to talk about the kills without sounding like a hypocrite, but I thought the kills in this movie were really well done, even though we didn't really see them. It does tend to cut away right as Jason does the initial kill, but we still see the aftermath, and the aftermath looks good. And even though we don't see the initial kill, some of them are still great. Like the guy getting flung through the woods, or the lady getting her head crushed into a wall and it just leaves an imprint of her face into it. Or when Jason takes that one counselor's head and just twists it all the way around and pops it off. It's great! If I had to gripe about anything in this movie, it would be that the romantic aspect between Tommy and the lady, it's really forced. It didn't need to happen. And there's also the fact that Tommy just like goes to the library and picks up a few books on the occult, skims through one of them, and then finds out how to beat Jason. It's just, it's so rushed. But really, this movie is not taking itself seriously, which is why I can kind of look over those flaws. It's all just so self-referential, which is what I love about it. They almost break the fourth wall. In fact, they do break the fourth wall at one point. One of the teenagers says something about she knows that in a horror movie, when you see a guy with a mask, you should run away. And one of the other guys, the caretaker for the graveyard Jason was buried at, he straight up looks at the camera and delivers a line. So, all in all, even with the couple of nitpicks, this movie is just so much fun, and Friday the 13th finally realizes what it is. It got a director on the helm that outright was like, I'm going to make this funny. I'm going to have a good time with this, and it looks like everyone in the movie is having fun. I had fun watching it, so I'm going to give Friday the 13th, Jason Lives, an A. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe so that I can see you next time for more R&R.